Hello and welcome to another edition of Addition. I'm your host, Addy Snowden, product manager at Google and quantum life coach, helping you get happier, healthier, and wealthier by jumping into the reality of your dreams. You can always book time with me Wednesday nights at calendly.com/additionpod. If you're watching the live stream, you can see the QR code to connect with me. That'll take you to my website, and I'm live streaming for the first time on LinkedIn. I'm live streaming for the first time on Instagram. Show some love. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe. I really appreciate all of your engagement. Okay. So I have a great episode today. We're going to talk about letting go of your limiting beliefs. I'm going to explain everything about what that is, what are limiting beliefs, who has them, how to get rid of them. I have a whole recipe for you guys to get rid of your limiting beliefs. One sec, Jay Snow, if you can hear me right now, can you please close the door because I'm getting an echo. All right, so much change. General updates. I'm going to give you, so we have new segments. The first segment is going to be the celebrity quantum jump example, and I'm so excited to show you this week's celebrity quantum jump. I'm going to have a main topic, which today is how to let go of your limiting beliefs. And then I have the career segment, a continuation from the Addition podcast. So all you guys who follow me for career advice, I will still have the career segment. And what I'm geeked out about this week, as per usual. So thanks again. Let's get into the celebrity example of the week. So I'm using streaming software right now. And I'm going to change what I'm showing you. Right now, you can see my fabulous thumbnail, episode 78, how to let go of your limiting beliefs. But I'm going to change it to this picture of who else but Christina Aguilera. Okay, so Christina Aguilera is my first celebrity quantum jump example of the week because she jumped into a reality where she did not age. And I think a lot of people think after a certain age, you have to start looking older. You need to cut your hair. You need to keep your grays. You need to not care about your skin because it's going to be wrinkled anyway. And that is so not true. Like, look at Christina Aguilera. I wish you guys could see my live stream right now if you're listening. But look, there's a picture of her in 1999 and then another picture of her in 2023. And really the only difference looks like she has more makeup on in 2023. She has not aged in 24 years. So whenever someone tells you you have to look your age, you don't actually. I chose to stop aging at age 21. If anything, I look younger than I did when I was 21. So that I'll save that for another episode, jumping into the reality where you feel comfortable being beautiful, where you feel comfortable being attractive or comfortable being handsome, comfortable being in shape. That's another example of quantum leaping that I would love to go in on. I actually wanted to talk about it this week, but I needed to start broad, you guys. But Christina Aguilera, good for her. She's living in the reality where she doesn't age, and you can too. So always, you can book with me. You can go to the QR code or calendly.com/additionpod. I would love to help you jump into a reality where you don't age. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. I'm living proof. I don't even want to tell you guys. I don't tell anybody how old I am because I don't want them to know because I look so incredibly young. All right, so how to let go of your limiting beliefs. That's the main topic for today. So what are limiting beliefs? Let's start there. You know, I love the who, what, when, where, why. So limiting beliefs are thinking small. An example is thinking things don't apply to you. Like it works for my friend, but it won't work for me. Thinking you aren't good enough. I think that's the best way to sum up. Thank you. Who said that I was 38? LOL. This is why I need to stay out of the TikTok comments. Anyway, whatever. So thinking we're not good enough. So saying like, oh, my friend got an internship, but I'm not going to get the internship. I'm not even going to bother applying. at Google because they're not going to accept me. Like those are limiting beliefs. Or I'm some people say like I have social anxiety, and like if you're actually diagnosed with social anxiety, like I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about people who just say, oh, I'm socially awkward and that's why I don't go to networking events, or I'm uncomfortable, I'm afraid to ask questions to the teacher because they're going to laugh at me. Like all of these things are limiting beliefs. Oh my God. So thank you for the engagement. Please comment in the chat if you can relate to this. So those are limiting beliefs, basically thinking small. And there was a trending sound on TikTok not that long ago that was like, you got to think big. And there's a curse word, so I won't say it. But you got to think big. You got to think big. And it's really hard to think big when all you know is thinking small. So I'm going to talk about why do we have them. But first I'm going to say who has limiting beliefs? We all have limiting beliefs. Even myself at this stage in my career, at this stage in my life, you know, I'm married, I'm established. I've been in my industry for a while now. I still have limiting beliefs. There's still ways I can be thinking bigger. For example, with my podcast, I was constraining myself to one model of what I thought would be a successful podcast. And it was through watching my wife with her live streaming that realized like, hey, my podcast isn't just a podcast. It's an experience. And now if you're watching on YouTube, like it's crazy. Like if you're watching on LinkedIn, first of all, I wasn't even hosting or streaming here before. You didn't see video with me before. I was thinking so small because I was so concerned about what other people thought of me and making a mistake. Okay, so let's talk about why we have them. Like, where do we get these limiting beliefs from? So number one is always family. Like family, we love them so much, but they are our harshest critic. They are our harsh. Thanks for the gifts. Jay Snow, I appreciate that. I'm still learning how to manage live streaming and knowing that this is going to be podcast, but this is an experience. Come along for the ride. So yes, family is always the number one culprit of limiting beliefs because they shape so much of what we think about, or as a child. And my mother-in-law is like an expert in early childhood development. I'm sure she could speak at length about this. But so much of, you know, who we are, our identity as a person is formed at the younger ages. So everything that our family was, you know, speaking into us, that's what we believe about ourselves. So I'll give you an example. When I was growing up, I was always called selfish by a family member. Oh, thank you, Jay Snow. Thank you. She said I look gorgeous on all platforms. Thank you. She always told me I was selfish. Oh my God. And so as an adult, I overcompensated to be generous, and probably to like a fault on some level. But like, I genuinely did not think that I was a generous person. And it wasn't until maybe a year ago, I did a workshop where it was like, I had to define what kind of leader I was, and generous was there because if anything, I give way, 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 way too much. I give way too much, and I am learning to give way less. But that limiting belief of thinking I was selfish had a huge impact on my life. And I love my grandmother to death. I'm glad that she helped me practice this generosity muscle. Like, but there are way worse limiting beliefs that we can ingrain. Some people were called stupid. Some people were called ugly. Some people were called fat, called chubby. I think for guys, they'll say like, oh, he's girly, he's soft, like all of those limiting beliefs that are implanted in a family, which are really just projections of their own selves onto us because they see us as projections of them. They don't even have an idea of us being our own human because we're so young. So, and as we stay in touch with family over the years, we are either reinforcing those limiting beliefs, but at a certain point in time, we can gain the consciousness. For everybody listening to this podcast or the show right now, this is your time to realize you don't have to listen to people anymore. You don't have to accept their truth as your truth anymore. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Also friends. Okay. So I posted a video recently, I will link in the show notes, about my leap from 2021 to 2024. And it's basically a trend, like, oh, this is what I looked like, a picture or video of what you look like in 2021 to a picture or video of what you looked like in 2024. And the leap is violent. That's what they call it. It means that, like, I blew up. Like, I look way better than I did 3 years ago. And when I actually did my glow up journey in 2020. And I got so much resistance against my friends. They were like, oh, you shouldn't wear hair extensions. Oh, you shouldn't be at the gym. Like, I lost 40 pounds sometime between 2019 and 2021. So, like, in that year of 2020, I lost 40 pounds. Like, I was really paying attention to my diet. I started growing out my hair because I had shaved my head bald, you guys, in 2015. Like, I always say, if you ever want to know what's going on with a woman, look at her hair. It says everything. We can go into that later. Ask in the comments if you have a question about that. But yeah, my friends were so resistant, and they thought it sounded like they were being nice. They're like, oh, you're so beautiful the way you are. Oh my God, like, you look great. Why would you ever want to change anything about yourself? Those are limiting beliefs. Those are limiting beliefs because they're limiting my visual representation of myself in the world. No one else can tell me what's too much or what's enough. Like, some people may say I wear too much makeup. Someone in the chat earlier today said I was looking like I was trying to present as a different race. No, I am an artist at heart, and this is what I'm doing. So colleagues, oh my gosh. So I'm bringing up colleagues because recently, like, this is, for some people, promotion season, right? And colleagues will have all these tricks about how to get promoted, or like there'll all be these career development workshops, and it's someone where we don't know how much money they're making, we don't know what level they're at the company, we don't know what their background is, that we don't know who they know telling us how to get promoted. I had someone who was mentoring me to become a manager about a year ago. Yes, I'm not going to name names, but he never encouraged me to self promote. Like, there's an actual button that I can do where I can just say, I want to be considered for promotion. I want to self promote myself. They told me everything. He told me to not do that. And it's like, because it didn't work for him. And it's like, that's a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief. So I was killing myself doing all this work, thinking that, like, doing it the right way. And guess what? I did not get promoted. Right. So anyway, that's a limiting belief. Content. We get limiting beliefs from the content we consume. I will link the video. I just posted it yesterday. If you're watching Armageddon over and over, thank you for the gift. LOL. If you're watching negative content, like something that got to me on Netflix, every episode about a marriage was about a divorce. Every episode about a marriage was about a divorce. Like, there's so much negative content out there, and it's like, we really need to take a look at what we're spending our time listening to. There's some podcasts I had to stop listening to when it was very clear that they didn't want me as a listener. Like, if all the podcasts you're listening to are by people who don't look like you, and are talking badly about people who look like you, it's probably a good idea to stop listening to that podcast. So basically, we need to reassess, because sometimes we want to be angry. Yes, the negative programming can be constant. We want to rage bait. Like, there's so much rage bait out there. Like, someone will say something outrageous just for the comments, just for the views. So that's another example. So all of that, the stuff from our family, stuff from our friends, stuff from our colleagues, stuff from the content, all that turns into negative self-talk. So everyone knows what I mean when I say we have a talk track. We have a talk track that is explaining, like, hey, it's our internal monologue that is always happening at all times. Like, some people can turn it off. There are ways to do that with meditation. But a lot of quantum life coaching, if you book a session with me, is going to be about retraining that talk track, because our thoughts are what define our reality. And if we're not doing exercises that I'm about to get into, we were living in a reality where we think only the worst things about ourselves at all times. And that is really, really sad and really depressing. And I don't want that for anybody. Okay, so when do limiting beliefs come up? Limiting beliefs come up right before we're about to do something big. Say it with me. Limiting beliefs come up right before we're about to do something big. I know a lot of you guys have never even heard me raise my voice before. And I feel like even my soft spoken, like I'm a very soft spoken, or can be a very soft spoken person sometimes. And like almost silent. Like people are always like, wait, I didn't catch that. Wait, I didn't catch that. That's because I had a limiting belief around being loud. So in this moment right here, right before we're about to do something big, we get the limiting beliefs. We start the doubt. You hear it, the fear, the doubt, the anxiety, the loathing. Like that's when limiting beliefs come up. Okay, so how do we let go of them? How do I let go of them? Okay, so I put this, like, I believe it's a 6-step process of how you let go of your limiting beliefs. So step 1, identify. You need to identify your limiting beliefs. And this cannot be done by yourself. This cannot be done in a vacuum. You need to talk to people that you know and trust. I thank you. I need to take up that vocal space. You need to talk to people that you know and trust and ask them, what's something that you thought I could do, but I always talk myself out of? Like I would start with family, because even if they're the person creating this limiting belief with you, they will still think the best of you and know exactly what that thing is. If you have a partner or a spouse, I think that's a huge source for me. I get a lot of feedback from my wife about like how I'm holding myself back. Also, listening to people that you admire, and like Oprah, for example, is someone that I love listening to. Like, who I admire. I listen to her. I think about all the things that she did, and then you can write down anything you think that won't work for you. Like, so those are some ways. Asking people really close to you, looking to your heroes and thinking why you think things will work for them and not you. And that's a great way to identify your limiting beliefs. But I have a feeling that some of you guys already know what your limiting beliefs are, and that's you, and that's good job. Identify them. All right, so step 2, write them down. We need the power of the written word, you guys. We need to see things to believe it. Sometimes that's the easiest way. And I need you to write down all of your limiting beliefs. I feel like I can't get promoted because I'm a Black woman. If that is a limiting belief for you, write that down. A limiting belief. I don't think I can afford a home. That's a limiting belief. I don't think I'm worth $500,000 a year. That's a limiting belief. So write them down. Just write them down. Okay? So now after you've written them down, I'm sure that's going to be an emotional process and probably take a week or so just to like identify all your limiting beliefs, get the courage and let go of the procrastination and write them all down. And so once you get there, now for every line, write down the opposite. And it's kind of hard to flip for the opposite, but I'll give you some examples. So the first one I gave was like, I don't think I will be promoted. I don't believe I can get promoted because I'm a Black woman. The opposite is, I will get promoted because I'm a Black woman. It's not, racism doesn't exist. It's not, I still have a chance. It's like, no, I will get promoted because I'm a Black woman. The other ones, I forget what the other examples were. I am not worth $500,000 a year. I am worth $500,000 a year. That's how you flip it. So write down the opposite of all of those terms, or all of those limiting beliefs that you had. And now with the old thoughts, like look at them, remember them, do a little memory snapshot as you're looking at them. but then you need to burn them. So I prefer burning them. I call it like a let go ceremony, where we just kind of like have this bucket, like it's fall, it's the perfect time to do a bonfire, right? And burn those limiting beliefs. Like, obviously use proper fire safety hazards, but burn those limiting beliefs. If you can't burn them because you're limited, rip them up in tiny, tiny, tiny piece of paper and flush them down the toilet. It needs to be a visual, you need to visually see those beliefs disappearing, okay? So, all right, so you've identified your beliefs, you've written them down, you've written the opposite, and you have burned or gotten rid of in some way your old beliefs. It's and then so after that, you go ahead and take your new beliefs, the positive ones, and using I and using present tense, repeat those in the mirror 10 times in the morning, smiling. And you need to be looking at the mirror and you need to be smiling. It is really, really hard to do that. I see Eyes is saying has some opinions. Thanks for sharing your opinions in the chat. But repeat in the mirror 10 times what your new beliefs are in the mirror, smiling. And this, I would say, if you actually commit to doing this every morning, it will take 3 months to actually adopt that new belief. Like, there's so much deprogramming. It's 90 days of continuous, people call them affirmations, but I believe these are more powerful because you're transforming your fears and your weaknesses into your strengths through telling yourself the truth and looking in the mirror. So repeat them in the mirror 10 times every morning, smiling. If you don't believe me and you think that's crazy, just try to do it for a week, just till next podcast episode, and let me know next episode whether this worked for you or not, if it at least made you think a little bit differently. Some of you guys are going to realize that this is so incredibly hard to do, you can't actually do it. And you're going to keep listening to this podcast until you have the actual courage to do it, because that's how powerful it is. And anything that is good for us, there's always going to be some resistance. And you procrastinating on doing this is the resistance, which I see is like the enemy in our life. If you've read Stephen Pressfield, The Artist's Way, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the resistance. But go ahead and do that. Try it for a week and let me know next week if that didn't change you in any way, okay? And I forgot step 6. Okay. Write them down every morning. So that's called scripting. So the teacher's pet people, because I feel like this is a lot at once, okay? The teacher's pet people, in the morning before you start your work. And I think it's really important, it's before you open the computer and start checking email. You write down those new beliefs with a graphite pencil and paper. And I'm talking about like an actual number 2 pencil, not a mechanical pencil. This will transform the power of what you are saying significantly. And I can get into another episode. So, all right, I'll repeat the steps again. Step 1, identify your limiting beliefs. Step 2, write down your limiting beliefs. Step 3, burn your old limiting beliefs or get rid of them in some way. Step 4, write down the opposite using I and present tense. Step 5, repeat them in the mirror 10 times in the morning, smiling. And am I missing a step? And then step 6 for the teacher's pet, write them down every morning. Okay, so that's how to let go of your limiting beliefs. Let me know if it works for you. Of course, let me know if you have any questions. I can see TikTok chat. I can't see anyone else's chat, but let me know. I'll be able to see them after, so let me know. I see a chat tab. LOL, there it is. Okay, no one has commented. Great. So go ahead and chat. Let me know what you think about this. Drop in the comments, and I'd love to hear what your guys' experience with this is. Okay, so the career segment, the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. Oh my God. So I'm actually going to share this tab again. I'm going to share this tab, okay? And let me zoom in. So I keep this on a doc. I say Addy's 15 commitments to conscious leadership. I have I have it so it's, organized and I can see them. And we have done commitments 1 through 8. Last one was excelling in your zone of genius. And now we're going to do commitment 9, which is an amazing one, living a life of play and rest, which is I commit to creating a life of play, improvisation, and laughter. I commit to seeing all of life unfold easily and effortlessly. I commit to maximizing my energy by honoring rest, renewal, and rhythm. I loved so much when I saw that was a commitment, because play, I feel like people can do. Work hard, play hard. But rest is really hard for a lot of people. And I am said people. Like, I have to be reminded, I need to be punished into resting. As you can see, I have a full-time job. I'm always launching a business. I travel often. Like, I always have something going on. And to rest is so hard. To rest is so hard for me. But that's a limiting belief. I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna say, it is so easy for me to rest. So once you figure out these limiting beliefs, you're gonna start flipping things around like I just did. I really hope you get to that point, because it's so incredibly helpful. But work isn't everything, you guys. Oh my God, let me hold your hand when I tell you this. Work isn't everything, you guys. Work is not everything. Like, that is such a limiting belief. Work is one thing is the opposite way. Work is one thing of many things. Like, people so often neglect their family, their friends, their health, their well-being because of work. Because of work. Okay. Thanks for the gifts. Work is not everything. So you have to live a life of play, like, and also, like, if it seems hard, it's like, how can I make it fun? Like, I made this podcast fun by live streaming my new graphics, which Jolene made for me, of course. They're so good. I've changed my logo on all platforms, because she was like, why are you so stuffy? Like, this is not like, why is work your podcast? And there was a time that I started this podcast to get a better job. And guess what? I got one. So I didn't need to keep doing it the way I was doing it, but that was still hard for me. It needs to be work. And I love Addition. Like, Addition is my baby. Like, I tell my wife all the time, like, I'm never, this is something I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And I know that's a huge commitment, but I believe in the power of content. I believe in the power of streaming. I am a consumer of other people's content. Like, if you have a great podcast, send it to me. I love following people's lives, especially virtually, because it requires way less energy and I can turn them on and off. But the content I was doing felt like work. It wasn't playful. It was stressful. And now I'm talking about something I love, something I'm passionate about, something I believe in. And that has made doing everything with my podcast way more fun. In the book, which I will have linked in the show notes, he talks about looking for fun in a meeting. Like, if you're about to be in a meeting, that's really, it's a meeting that you don't listen to. Committed queen, thank you. A meeting that you typically just go on mute and just, do stuff in the background on. Like, think about how you can make it fun. I like to use emojis, the emoji reactions in Google Meet. I like to maybe ping someone on the side who I haven't seen in a while and say, like, hey, good to see you. There's so many different ways to bring fun into something, even though companies seem so incapable of doing that sometimes. They're like, yeah, let's do this fun activity, but it's actually going to be really stressful. So look for living a life of play and rest. Think to yourself, where can you rest more? If you're feeling sick, take a sick day. Like, you guys, that's what it's for. You have to rest. You have to rest. You have to rest. You have to rest. And you have to play. You have to play. Make it fun. Think about how you can make it fun. All right. Let me switch the screen share back to my fabulous thumbnail. And let's go to the next segment. What is Addy geeked out about this week? I'm so geeked out that we're going to Boston tomorrow. Uh, Jolene said, drop a funny at work, appropriate mean in teams. 100%. Drop those gifts. We love those gifts. But yes, we are going to Boston tomorrow. Boston is where both my mother and my brother live. We're going to go stay with my brother. My brother's my favorite person sometimes. And I love how, like, he's really adopted my wife into our family, which is so great, and which really means a lot. And I also want to show her Boston in the Northeast because she's lived in Georgia, the majority of her life. And while she's well traveled and cultured, Boston just happens to be one of the places she hasn't been yet. So I'm so excited. Shopping in Boston is top tier to me. I know people will talk about shopping in New York or New Jersey. She said a big bowl of clam chowder. I know people talk about shopping in New York and New Jersey, which is also fabulous, but Boston has mastered that indoor-outdoor shopping. And they also, it's like you can go outdoor shopping and then there's 2 malls walking distance. Like, amazing. Of course, if you know what I'm talking about Newbury Street. Shout out to the Bostonians listening. And we're gonna go whale watching, which I'm so pumped about. Like, my brother always picks the best activities. So yes, I'm so geeked out about going to Boston, and and also some time off. Talk about rest, some time off work, like especially going into Q4. Everyone is always super stressed out about the plan for next year. And I am currently living in a reality where I'm not stressed out, but there's just a lot of stressful energy around. And I feel like sometimes when it's the most stressful is the time to take some time off. Like this, I didn't plan it this way, but being that person who has taken a step outside to zoom out and coming back into work is so invaluable, because you've taken a break. You're looking at things with fresh eyes. And for me, I think I perform better the more often I take breaks. So yes, I'll be back at work Tuesday. So I get 3 days off. I'm so happy. And yes, so that is the show today. You guys, let me know. So much changed. I actually skipped this beginning. New logo, obviously. Yes, shout out to Jay Snow for designing my logo. No, she's not accepting. She's not going to respond if you ask her to do your logo. But subscribe to her content. New vibe. As you can see, this is way more casual. You guys, it's going to be way more personal. I'm going to open up more. I love opening up, but I think I got so much fear, especially when I got this job at Google. I'm like, oh my God. I thought people were going to judge me, I thought people were going to judge me, and I felt like I had to be a different persona. And you know what? I did do that, and it got me where I am. And why not try something different? Like they always say, what got you here won't get you there. So the vibe is way more authentic to me. Everything from the colors, the creative, the topics are just more chill and more me. So let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to hear me talk more about. I really appreciate all your support, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.